All right, number 16, journalist. Obviously, though some, and what does some mean? At least one. So obviously, though, at least one animal are purely carnivorous. None would survive without plants. Okay, so what is none here referring to? Animals, right? So we're saying, hey, at least one animals are purely carnivores. None would survive without plants. So no animals would survive without plants. But the dependence is mutual. So we have this point of contention here. We're saying, but the dependence is mutual. So what dependence is mutual? What are we talking about? We're talking about plants and we're talking about animals. Many, and what does many mean? Many means many things. We don't really know. Many plant species would never have come to be had there been no animals to pollinate, fertilize, and broadcast their seeds. Also, so we're continuing on, also, plants' photosynthetic, I don't even know how to say that, activity would deplete the carbon dioxide in Earth's atmosphere, were it not constantly being replenished by the exhalation of animals, engine fumes, and smoke from fires, many set by human beings. So all of this from many plants here is we have a lot of details, we have a lot of information, a lot of facts. That's all being used to support the idea. It's our support that the dependence is mutual. So this is an argument, which means it has a conclusion. So I'm going to find that first. And our conclusion is that the dependence between plants and animals is mutual. So I'm going to read the question stem. So it says, which of the following most accurately expresses the main conclusion? So I'm going to look for the best example of this in one of my answer choices. So let's start with A. The photosynthetic activity of plants is necessary for animal life, but animal life is also necessary for the occurrence of photosynthesis in plants. I like this one because it says that the photosynthetic activity of plants is needed for animal life, but animal life is also needed for this in plants. I wish that it didn't. I wish it just said that like plants and animals are both needed, so I'm going to leave this one open. B. Some, so at least one purely carnivorous animal would not survive without plants. Nope, that's just our support. That's not enough to be our conclusion. C, the chemical composition of Earth and its atmosphere depends, at least to some extent, on the existence of and activities of the animals that populate the Earth. I mean, cool, but we don't even bring up plants here. So C can't be our answer because we're saying that, hey, plants and animals both depend on each other. D, human activity is part of what prevents plants from depleting the oxygen in Earth's atmosphere on which plants and animals alike depend. All right, cool, we bring up this human activity piece and we mentioned humans at the end, but that's not our conclusion. We're talking about, hey, plants and animals both need each other. So it's not going to be D. And then E, just as animals are dependent on plants for their survival, plants are dependent on animals for theirs. Ooh, I love E. Love E. Because that's like way more specific, or more of a direct quote just from our conclusion of who we're talking about. The dependence is mutual. So let's go back up to A and really see why it's wrong. And I think it's going to be wrong because I did not like this word here where it talked about the photosynthetic activity of plants is necessary. I didn't like that it brought up photosynthetic activity rather than just saying plants. Like if it would have said plants are necessary for animal life and animal life is also necessary for plants, then it would be correct. But I don't know where this photosynthetic activity thing came in, and that's what makes this one wrong. And so we're going to go ahead and go with E.